Hi there, this is Craig Beck from StopDrinkingExpert.com. I thought today we'd get a little bit of vitamin D and do something outside. I've been getting a few emails recently from people saying, how do I stop my child falling into the same trap with alcohol that I did? How do I stop my child making the same terrible mistake and turning to alcohol to cope with life's problems? And it's a great question. It's certainly one that I've put a lot of thought into because, you know, as the parent of two children, well, two grown-up children now, one of the toughest things I've had to accept on this journey is that I missed huge sections of my children's childhood because of this attractively packaged poison. And that's very hard to accept because, you know, I set out to be the best dad in the world, don't we all? And I have to be honest and accept and admit that I failed because of this drug. You know, I would be in bed by 8 p.m. every night. I went to bed before my children. So how many special moments did I miss because of this drug? So that's what I want to talk about in today's video. I'll just remind you at this point that we have a quit drinking boot camp coming up in Chicago, first time ever in Chicago. And I just realized, because it's my 45th birthday tomorrow, I can't believe how quickly this year is flying by. And we only have 4 boot camps left for 2019. Chicago is coming up, then we're in Dublin, Ireland for the first time ever. Then back in London for one more time this year, and then we're going to finish 2019 in style in New York in November. So if you've been thinking about coming to one of my seminars and been putting it off, now is the time to take action and actually commit and get your place secured. Go to StopDrinkingExpert.com right now. So imagine for me, you know, it's a few years' time and your child is now grown up, maybe they're in their 20s, and they come up to you and they say, Mom, Dad, life sucks. I'm having trouble at work, my boss is an asshole, I'm having relationship problems, I'm having financial problems, so I've decided I'm going to take up drinking. You wouldn't say, great idea, son. Fantastic. Yeah, that always worked for me. You crack on. You wouldn't, would you? You'd say, oh my God, that's the worst thing you will ever do. Please don't do that. And so I've got to ask you the question, how come you're giving such great advice to your child and yet you're giving such terrible advice to yourself? And it is this inconsistency in our behavior that our children pick up on. And so to understand how you set your child up to have a better relationship with alcohol, to see it for what it really is, and to see past the smoke and mirrors and the lies of the alcohol industry. First, you've got to understand how we set our moral compass, how we develop through the years, how we establish who we are as a person, what is right, what is wrong, and so on. Because humans are a unique animal. We're the only animal that comes into the world before we're ready to be here. We come into the world defenseless, incapable, and at risk of death because we have to be born before we're ready because our head gets too big. Our brain is so big, if we waited long enough to be ready, we would never get out because our head would be too big. And so we're born before we're ready. That doesn't happen with any other animal. You know, watch a horse give birth or a giraffe give birth. The baby kind of like falls out and mother just walks away. And the baby has to go, okay, let's get on with it. And it gets up and it starts walking and off it goes. The truth is, if our mother did that, if our mother left the moment we were born, we'd be dead within days. We're that pathetic. And we have no data, no information, no knowledge. And that's why the Greek word for baby is moro. And moro is where the English word moron comes from. Because the Greek word moro basically means these little people without any information, little people without knowledge. So they're not being offensive. It's actually quite an accurate statement, isn't it? Little people with no experience. And so from the age of 0, from the age of birth to about 7, you're in what we call the imprint stage of life. What that basically means is you're a sponge. And you're going to soak up information and knowledge from everything you see and everything you hear. But there's a crucial point here. at this point in our lives and in the lives of your children, they have no critical thinking. They have no way of judging information because they have nothing to compare it against. So this is why you can say to a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, once a year, a magical, mystical fat guy is going to come down the chimney and leave presents for everyone. And they go, oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. And every Easter, a rabbit's going to come into the garden and leave chocolate eggs everywhere. And they go, yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough, sounds good. Because they don't have they don't have any information to compare what you've said against. They can't go, well, that doesn't make any sense. How's that supposed to happen? Because they've got no contrast and no comparison. Now that's really important to understand, because you've got to think very carefully about what you say to your children. If your child knocks over a glass of water and you say, oh, you're so clumsy, you're such a mess, you're so messy, the child doesn't have the ability to go, no, I'm not. This is an isolated incident, and I'll think you fine, Dad. It only happened because of this, this, and this. They don't have that critical thinking, so they take it as fact. And it goes very deep into the subconscious mind. And you'll never be able to work out if it happened or not, but maybe later in life, they become a very messy, clumsy individual. And they have no idea why. They just say, it's just who I am. It's part of my personality. But what we're doing with our children at this point in their lives is we're actually hand carving. Carving's not a word, is it? Hand carving their personality and character for the rest of their lives. So let me ask you a question here. What do you think happens when your small child sees you come home from work every day and make statements like, oh, what a day, I need a drink? And then before you do anything else, you open the refrigerator, you take out the bottle of wine or the bottle of beer and you pour it, and you make such a display, don't you? You go, oh, that's better. Your child is watching that, and it's creating programs that say, when you're stressed, you do this. When you have a tough day, you do this. When you drink that magic stuff out of the refrigerator, amazing things happen. And let me tell you, when I was a child, my mom's a clean freak. She must vacuum the house 3 times a day. She's nuts. But there were always lots of rules in our house. When you come in the house, you take your shoes off. If you put a drink down, you put it down on a coaster, otherwise you're dead. If my mom sees that drink without a coaster, she's going to shout a lot. And if she's really angry, she'll use your full name. Craig David Beck, you get down here at once. Well, my dad would routinely break the house rules under the justification, it's my bloody house and I'll do what I want. And whenever my brother and I would see him breaking the rules, we would make fun of him and say, oh, Dad, you're breaking the rules. And my dad would always say the same thing, always exactly the same thing. He would say, don't do what I do what I say. And that sounds very laudable. It's a lovely little soundbite, but the truth is, and I'm sorry, Dad, but tough shit, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't matter what you say, it is what you do. And particularly when your child gets out of the imprint stage and moves into the next stage of development, which is called the modeling phase. Sorry, the noise you hear, the farmer of this field has decided to drive his tractor through it just as I'm making this video. Yeah, you couldn't make it up, could you? So you go from the imprint stage to the modeling phase. Now the modeling phase is where you're looking for inspiration. You're looking for a guide on how to be a great man or a great woman. And obviously because you spend so much time with your parents, you see your mother and your father as the prime example of how to be the best version of a human being. And so this is a great time to be a parent, because this is the time when your kids want to spend time with you. You know, the son wants to spend time with dad and go to the ball game. Daughters want to spend time with their mother and pick out dresses and do makeup and stuff like that. And if you're the father of teenage children like me, you'll acutely know how dramatically that period ends when they become a teenager and they go in their bedroom, lock the door, and sit in the dark smelling like a mushroom for a few years. So in the modeling phase, they're watching you, but they're not necessarily listening to you. And so again, we have this problem of it doesn't matter how much you advise your children not to drink, you've got to demonstrate that to them in your own behavior. And so to summarize this kind of long video about this, the only way to really lead your children on the correct path and steer them away from the quicksand that is alcohol addiction is to demonstrate and to be consistent with that. Because, you know, even if you do it half-heartedly and you drink at Christmas or you drink on vacation, what you're actually saying, without saying it, is that at certain times of the year, drinking poison is okay. In fact, hey, it's fun. And so I wish I could give you like some magic sentences. You whisper into your child's ear and they go, oh, I get it. But it doesn't work like that. The only way you do this, the only way you nail this and guide your children correctly is by leading by example. But the great thing about that is you get the benefit as well, because your life dramatically improves. You get this poison out of your own life. And, you know, having your children there to guide them, it's a great inspiration and motivation to you to stay on this sober path. So thank you very much for watching today. Look, if you're worried about your drinking, if you do want to be that guiding light to your children, then I encourage you to take action today. So why don't you go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com, and sign up for my free Quit Drinking webinar. I'll even give you a copy of my best-selling book, Alcohol Lied to Me, as a free gift just for turning up. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and comment to the YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video.